Good morning. It is Monday morning, and we are starting a new chapter in Luke, chapter 9. It says, Then he called his 12 disciples together and gave them power and authority over devils, over all devils, and to cure diseases. He gave his disciples authority. He gave them power, authority over all devils, and to cure diseases. Now, do we have that? Has he given us disciples that? He said, we're going to get over there in Luke chapter 10, but he said, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. That's in chapter 10. We're going to get there. So I believe that when Jesus abides in our hearts, that it is more than just giving us power and authority over all devils and to cure diseases. He actually is right there to do it. His Spirit is right there to do it. So we might as well just enjoy what he's given us. You know, he said his name would be called Emmanuel, which means God with us. And that's what he intended to do. He intended to come and live in us. In John, we'll look over there. In John, he said, and I believe it's in 14, he said, let's find it right there. He that hath my commandments, verse 21, and keepeth them, he it is that loveth me, and he that loveth me shall be loved of my Father, and I will love him and will manifest myself to him. Judas saith unto him, not Iscariot, Lord, how is it that thou wilt manifest thyself unto us and not unto the world? Jesus answered and said unto him, If a man love me, he will keep my words, and my Father will love him, and we will come unto him and make our abode with him. So God the Father and God the Son is the we right there, and they're abiding in us who keep his commandments. So realize that the Lord himself is abiding in us. And so when it says he gave his disciples, this was before he died on the cross, he gave them power and authority over all devils and to cure diseases. Jesus has authority over all devils, and he does cure diseases. So when he lives in us, we also have just that too. We may not believe it, but we need to. Verse 2 says, And he sent them to preach the kingdom of God and to heal the sick. Now, to preach the kingdom of God, did you know that, and I got to preach this yesterday, that there are many people that don't believe that there's such a thing as the kingdom of God in this world. They think we're all just the same. Some of us have different beliefs. Some of us think these things, but they're not really true. But the Bible lets us know that there is such a thing as the kingdom of God. And when we are born again, in John chapter 3, it talks about us being born again. When we are born of the Spirit, then we can enter into the kingdom of God. And that's why they preach the kingdom of God, because he wanted all that will to be a part of the kingdom of God. And who's the king in the kingdom of God? Jesus Christ. He's the king. He's our king. I'm in the kingdom of God, and I have him as my king. And he lives in me too. And he said unto them, verse 3, Take nothing for your journey, neither staves nor scrip, neither bread, neither money, neither have two coats apiece. staves, so that means something, walking sticks, don't take that, nor scrip, that's a wallet or a little bag to carry money or things like that in. Neither bread, neither money, neither have 2 coats apiece. He wanted them to travel light, and he wanted them to have faith in him to provide what they needed. Verse 4 said, "And whatsoever house ye enter into, there abide, and thence depart. And whosoever will not receive you when ye go out of that city, shake off the very dust from your feet for a testimony against them." So they were going to go into these cities, and the Lord wanted everybody, all the cities, to receive them so that they could preach the kingdom of God and cure the sick, heal the sick. But if the city would not receive them, if they didn't have anybody that would listen to them, he said, when you go out of that city, shake off the very dust from your feet for a testimony against them. So I can see them getting to the outskirts of the city and then patting their feet to get the dust off because they wouldn't listen. Verse 6 says, "And they departed and went through the towns, preaching the gospel and healing everywhere." So his disciples were healing. He was healing. And he sent them to preach everywhere. Now Herod the Tetrarch heard of all that was done by him, and he was perplexed, because that it was said of some that John was risen from the dead, and of some that Elias had appeared, and of others that one of the old prophets was risen again. And Herod said, "John have I beheaded, but who is this of whom I hear such things?" And he desired to see him. So remember John, in the book of John, we studied that. He said, "He must increase, but I must decrease." So John the Baptist had done his work to prepare the way for the Lord. Now the Lord is doing his ministry. And of course, it's only going to last 3.5 years. But it was his ministry, and John decreased because Herod the Tetrarch, had cut his head off, killed him, and so he was completely gone away from the scene, and Jesus was left. And Herod said, "John have I beheaded, but who is this of whom I hear such things?" And he desired to hear him, or to see him. You know, Herod the Tetrarch, I believe he was one of Herod the Great's sons, who tried to kill Jesus. The wise men came and told him about him, and after they left, he tried to kill Jesus. So this Herod is not any less dangerous because he beheaded John. And so, but he did desire to see Jesus. Verse 10, "And the apostles, now he had been calling them his disciples, because he had sent them out to preach the gospel." Then it changed the word to apostles, and that meant sent out. Disciples meant followers, and apostles meant sent out from. So, and the apostles, when they were returned, told him all that they had done. And he took them and went aside privately into a desert place belonging to the city called Bethsaida. And the people, when they knew it, followed him. Let's see what Bethsaida means. That might be interesting to see. Let me look at my dictionary thing here. It's called A Biblical Guide and Index in the back of this book, back of the Bible. Bethsaida. Let's see. Bethsaida means house of fishing. House of fishing. So that was by the Sea of Galilee, must have been. So he took them and went aside privately into a desert place belonging to the city called Bethsaida, the house of fishing. So house is Beth, said it must mean fishing. And the people, when they knew it, followed him, and he received them and spake unto them of the kingdom of God, and healed them that had need of healing. So here, this is what he was doing. He was letting them understand that there was such a kingdom in this world as the kingdom of God, and he was explaining about being in it, and he healed them that had need of healing. So he was doing the same thing that he had sent the disciples out to do. And when the day began to wear away, then came the 12 and said unto him, Send the multitude away that they may go into the towns and country round about and lodge and get victuals, for we are here in a desert place. And he said unto them, Give ye them to eat. And they said, We have no more but 5 loaves and 2 fishes, except we should go and buy meat for all this people. And where are they going to go? They don't have any Publix or cash and carry or even Circle K's or any of the fast, they don't have fast food places where they could order 100 hamburgers, and that wouldn't suit them. That wouldn't be enough anyhow. So they could, if they went and bought meat, it'd be hard for them to buy that much. So when Jesus said, Give ye them to eat, they were perplexed. I mean, how are we going to do it? For they were about 5,000 men, and that's beside the women and the children. And he said to his disciples, Make them sit down by 50s in a company. And they did so. And that took a while, wouldn't you think? You 50 come over here. They don't know how many 50 are. They had to just kind of separate them. You over here. They put 50s. He separated them by 50s in a company. That way they could count them, couldn't they? So that's why we know there were 5,000 men. And they did so and made them all sit down. Have you ever been in a gathering of 5,000 people? That's a lot. Maybe you've gone to a stadium that would seat 50,000. I don't know. And it was full. Maybe you have. All I know is that's a lot of people. And so he had them all sit down in those 50s in a company. And then he took the 5 loaves, and they did so and made them all sit down. Then he took the 5 loaves and the 2 fishes. Here's all of these. That would be 100 companies of 50, right? So there'd be 100 groups of 50 men, besides the women and children. 100 groups all over, everywhere. And he took the 5 loaves. 5 loaves. Well, is a big loaf like a big loaf of bread? Probably not. Probably because in another place it says a lad had this meal and it was like for his lunch. Probably like that, loaves. 5 loaves and 2 fishes. You catch a pretty big fish, you cut the head off and you gut it and everything and you fry it. And it's only going to be about that long. So he's had 5 of those little loaves probably, and 2 look like smaller fish, even though they might have been bigger to start with. They're all cleaned and cooked. And he took the 5 loaves and 2 fishes, and looking up to heaven, he blessed them and brake, and gave to the disciples to set before the multitude. Now he's calling them disciples again. And they did eat, and were all filled, and there were taken up of fragments that remained to them 12 baskets. Now let's talk about him breaking it. He blessed them and brake. So he's breaking the loaves and giving it to them. And all I can say is he kept breaking, he kept breaking, he kept breaking. I don't know how long he went with 1 loaf before he went to the next. But he might have been 1 loaf and then 1 fish. Get bread and fish, bread and fish, bread and fish to give to those groups. And people were just eating. It's good, wasn't it? That mama knew how to cook for her son. He took the 5 loaves and 2 fishes. He looked up to heaven and blessed them. He thanked the Father for them. And he blessed them. And he brake and gave to his disciples to set before the multitude. And they did eat and were all filled. They're eating and eating and eating and eating. Eating a bunch of fish. Eating a bunch of bread. Yum, yum. It was all good. And there was taken up of fragments that remained to them 12 baskets. After they all ate, 5,000 plus the women and the children, after they all ate, there were 12 baskets left. I don't know how long that took for Jesus to keep breaking that bread and breaking those fishes till they were all filled and then 12 baskets were left. It sounds like it had been hours, doesn't it? Been hours. But it was wonderful. It was wonderful how he fed them. Verse 18, and it came to pass as he was alone praying, his disciples were with him, and he asked them, saying, whom say the people that I am? I guess we better stop right there because I'm getting out of time. But you have the opportunity to think about that, how Jesus asked, whom say the people that I am? Who do you say he is? We'll get back on that tomorrow. God bless you.